Just as soon as I pulled it out, a police officer was behind me. So in 1997, I was a senior in high school, actually 1996. My senior year of high school, I was driving home from school one afternoon, and I happened to have a itching nose booger, right? So, the kind that's like kind of deep up in your nostril, and like, you have to pick at it and really, really get to it to pull it out. And when you pull it out, it's just kind of slimy and it's big, and like, my eyes teared, cried a little bit apparently. And just as soon as I pulled it out, a police officer was behind me, and lights came on and I got pulled over. So it's on my finger and I'm looking at it, trying to figure out where to put it. I had no napkins in the car, I had no tissues, no nothing. And it was big enough where I didn't want to wipe it on my shirt or my pants. So I was like, oh my God. So I hit it next to my leg. Cop pulls up, I lower the window, and he looks at me and he goes, "Have you been drinking, son?" I looked at him, I was like, no, sir, I just got out of high school. Like, literally, classes just got out. I was on my way home to go do some homework. He was like, "Well, you were swerving. So do you have a reason to be swerving at this time in the afternoon?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Well, sir, actually, I have a really funny one." And he's like, "All right, let's hear it." And I stick my finger at him. And he jumps back. And he jumps back at the exact moment that the second police officer pulls up, backup pulls up, and he sees the officer jump back, and now he's nervous, right? So he comes out, gun drawn, cautiously coming up to the car, and the senior officer looks at him and goes, No, put it away. You got to come see this. He comes up, and you can see he's like super nervous. I'm looking at my side view mirror. I can see him. He's just anxious, hands kind of, right on his holster. And he's like, "All right, kid, show him." So there we go. I stick my finger out again, and the guy's like, "Holy shit." And, we all had a good laugh about it. The officer thought it was the funniest thing ever. He ended up telling other officers that he was training at the moment, which ended up being one of my really close friends and one of my other good friends. Later on, like several years later, we were all sitting around at a Hooters, hanging out, eating wings and stuff. And they had asked me, they're like, "You ever get pulled over, Evesham?" And I'm like, well, strangely enough, I did. And one time it was really funny. And when I told them the story, they're like, "That was you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, we didn't think it was true. They all thought it was just something that the senior training officer was telling them just to whatever. And we all laughed more about it. And then every officer I've met since, I've told that story too, from that same town. And they're like, "We've heard about this." So apparently I'm a legend. Interesting story because, that was the first time that I ever had a run-in with, a cop pulling a gun on me for getting pulled over for something really stupid. And the second time was very recently on Lux Rally. Ed, myself, and our friend Matt, we were driving in Arkansas. We really weren't going very fast. At one point, Ed and Matt, I lost sight of them because I got cut off by an 18-wheeler. And I came around and I tracked them down. And then at some point we passed another police officer going the other direction. After we had been passed by that cop, I guess he radioed up to another cop and they were waiting for us. And he was on the shoulder. He pulled out, pulled us over. We all pulled in. The other guys that were behind us dipped out into the rest area. Right then and there was probably one of the scarier moments that I've had in a car. At the moment, I didn't feel that it was that bad until I saw the guy pull his gun out and just approach Ed's car. And he, gun drawn, looked real hot, looked really upset. And he swung that door open and pulled Ed out, put the gun away, handcuffed him, and it looked textbook. It looked like the moment that every young police officer was training for, and just terrifying. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it happen. I was the third car, and I looked at my rear view and I saw backup pulling up on me, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's my turn." It was just a terrible situation that thankfully we got out of. We talked to them. They were all very nice. The entire town came to visit us. The detectives, the sheriff. So Ed almost got shot for speeding in a Ferrari. And I almost got shot for picking my nose. Both of which seemed totally ridiculous.